We are still on the same page. Is the slide not working? Okay. Okay, all right. So, what we want to say is that Kogi State is at the center of Nigeria, not probably Abuja. Kogi State is at the center of Nigeria. We have abundant solid mineral resources. We have gold at Chokochoko, Okolom, Dogondaji. We have this gold come with tantalite. Many of them are tantalite, and you know the role tantalite plays in Nigeria today. We have coal at Okaba, Omelehu, and Oboyaga. We have marble. We have clay. And Kogi State is the first state in northern Nigeria to be an oil-producing state. I don't know how many of us know this and believe it because, of course, we have the boundary problem with the Anambra, but the Anambra Basin portion of the northern Anambra Basin portion is in Kogi State, and Orient is already operating there, and whatever amount of oil is coming, I believe that we are getting some derivation. I don't know. But we also have opportunity for oil and gas deposit in the Bida Basin. Currently, I am leading the NNPC team that is exploring for oil and gas in the Bida Basin and the Sokoto Basin. And we just came back from Sokoto, and of course, we had a very good welcome by the governor, who is very eager to ensure to see that some oil can be discovered in Sokoto State. We are also very sure that we can find some quantities of oil in the southern Bida Basin, which covers Ahoko, Gegubeki, up to Girinya, and down to Kotonkerife. So these are areas in Kogi State that have also prospered for oil and gas occurrence. But what do we need to do? I'm suggesting that we have a Kogi State industrialization trust fund. You can have a Kogi State industrialization trust fund, and this trust fund, we can solicit donation grants from high net worth individuals. And you have a chairman. The chairman can be a non-indigene or an indigene of integrity. Our only fear is corruption, embezzlement, but we can have anybody. You can have Dangote as the chairman, or you can even bring Makoju, his right hand, his deputy here, or a Norwegian can bring somebody from the Scandinavia where corruption is near zero, and they can run. Yes, sometimes Mr. Vice President, sir, when we talk about the FCC, and I wonder why the government at one time cannot even bring somebody from where they don't know corruption. To head that agency. I'm not sure that it's not doing well. But we can have this trust fund. And then we should have an industrialization blueprint. We should have an industrialization blueprint where the government will know what industry we want to create. But right now, we have opportunities for mining in many parts of Kogi State. If you go to Ajaokuta now, you'll be surprised at the number of industries operating there. And the reason is because the power or the gas coming from the Niger Delta, the northernmost portion it reached is Ajaokuta. So power is essential to, if you go there, I was there some days with my students, and we have a BN single finger. We have the Chinese one that is using the Itobe marble. We have the one that are using the feldspar from Central, the marble from Western, and the clay from Eastern. And with power infrastructure, definitely we'll be able to do a lot. I will want to stop here, and then we can continue further from there. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Next, in the last 2.5 years, a lot of policy meetings and synergy is going on between the federal government, states, and local governments. I believe the Honorable Minister for Mines and Solid would be able to lend his voice to how Kogi can lead in this regard. Thank you, sir.
Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Governor of Kogi State, our Chief Host, His Excellency, Governor of Kogi State, other distinguished leaders here present. I'm really very delighted to be here to talk about solid minerals. As the moderator said, this is a solid mineral state, and there is no reason why the bulk of the revenue of this state should not be internally generated rather than dependent on the federation account, of which Kogi is a part. The questions that have been asked by the moderator are specific. What are the constraints to scaling up mining in Nigeria and in Kogi in particular? What is delaying extensive geological surveys in the country and in the different locations in the state? What is the nature of the strategic partnerships required between the federal government and the state? And how can Kogi attract investments in the solid minerals sector? First is to say that the constraints are fairly well known. It is first and foremost the challenge of geodata. You've highlighted that in the question you've asked. The difficulties between federal government and state in terms of the exclusivity of mining in the federal constitution and the determination of state to gain ownership and be part of the process of using the endowments in the environment to benefit the people and the citizens in the state. The third is access to finance. Mining is a highly capital-intensive area, and government, just as the governor of Kogi State has just highlighted, has not paid sufficient attention to investing adequately in the sector, and this has also not triggered the involvement of the private sector enough. The obvious challenge that is not limited to mining, but to every sector that is very long-term in nature, is the misalignment between the electoral cycle and the mining cycle. With the greatest respect to what the governor is doing here, he has maximum 8 years as governor of this state. Mining is not an 8-year business.